you can keep crying about a situation or you can do something about it. That was the first thing, and it resonated like, yes, that is what I'm supposed to do, right? One thing I like to point out is whenever you're frustrated, like I was, every day was an inspiration, right? That I need to get out of this place. Like every day I'd go to my job and I'd come home frustrated, and the only thing I can do about it is study. So I was a late night studier. I could not wake up at the mornings. So I would give about 2.5 hours every day. Sometimes that 2.5 hours would end at like 2:30, 3:30 in the night, but that's fine by me. I think skills may take you up to 650 maybe. Above that, it has to be, you have to be in that zone. You have to, when you're facing new questions, you need to think about several approaches at some point of time. In a very short period, you need to take, okay, this approach I can take, this approach I can take, this approach I can take. So to gather such approaches and to be able to check which approach will be the shortest and give me the solution, I think you need to be in that frame of mind. Otherwise, it won't happen. You might have the skills, but it might not.
Good evening, Ranjeet. Tell me, how are you doing? And what a fantastic score last night. You just sent it. Was what in the midnight you sent that message to us?
Yes, actually, I think they released the official scores a bit late yesterday. I
Huh.
think 10:30 or 10:15 is at what time I got the mail. And that is why I started sharing it. First of all, I realized it myself. And then I shared with your team. I think I shared it with Richa first, and I think she must have pinged it to you.
No,
Something.
I directly saw it from the email. I was awake and I was so surprised,
Okay.
so happy. Sandeep said I was also awake at that time and he congratulated. Of course, he's busy in the class today, but
Yeah.
fantastic score. We're going to, because then you shared a lot of your score report and everything. Let's just go through it
Yes.
because it's so good to relive this this score. 99 percentile, 91 percentile in quant, 99 percentile in verbal, 97 percentile in data insight. This is like phenomenal verbal reasoning. Yeah, I'm sure you would agree.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
look at the time management. I think this is for quant. You got three
Oh,
of
I think this must have been verbal.
Yeah, okay, this is
Yeah.
verbal. So there are three of them wrong here.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's very important to note the ninth, 12th, and the 14th question. Again,
Yeah.
the position of the question, the entire level of the question. Then we have this one is DI, right?
This must have been.
You one, two, three, four, five. I think that kind of buried a little bit of the
Yeah.
percentile 84. The 20th question itself was slightly wrong there. And this
Yeah.
is the quant.
This is quant.
Yeah, this is 21 quant. It's just a mistake. So you had two of the questions wrong. And this is what you could see. Two questions wrong and three questions wrong in verbal. And this is the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
Exactly.
crazy. So we have a few more insights to critical reasoning. You've got 100 percentile, and reading comprehension is where you missed a bit. The three questions that you got wrong was on a passage, I suppose. And here's your overall percentile the score
This is
inferences.
by skills. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is quant, arithmetic algebra. And finally, the math related and non-math related, the DI section, data insights. Uh, Brilliant. Multi-source reasoning. Again, verbal proved to be the most effective. I think if you've thoroughly prepared for verbal, I feel, because that's reflecting both in your DI and verbal score. So tell me about yourself. What we could do is just give a little background about, what you're currently doing and how did this entire journey of GMAT start.
Ah,
We'll talk about the entire journey of GMAT and what were the weaker section, all of that in a while. But yes, over to you.
yeah. So that's a funny story actually. The starting of a GMAT journey. So you were showing my this LinkedIn profile, right? So I had previously scored a good 100 percentile in GATE. GATE is the technical exam for the master's thing in
Yeah.
India. So, and based on that, we go get into public sector enterprise, right? The best paid government jobs per se. So, at a very young age, I cleared it. I think I was 23 when I joined in these companies, right? So, one day, what this public sector companies does is they frustrate it to the limit. So, one day I was renting out to my colleague. He also is a fellow gate scorer. And we both felt the same way, right? Like we have a community and we both felt the same way that we are being underutilized, first of all. Second of all, it is frustrating. The compensation is frustrating. The job methodology is frustrating. So I was ranting on him that tell me a way out that I can leave the job today. That was my like point, right? I want to leave the job today, right now. So he poked fun at me, but he pointed out to Sandeep sir. And that is how I came to know about Sandeep sir. No social media, no YouTube and anything. He told me, "Hey, this is the course." So I would like to congratulate Sandeep sir that his deeds precedes his name. He said, "We just do this and you'll be over in 2 months or 3 months and you'll be done. That's it. That is the shortest time frame you have right now. Just take this course." The next day itself, I joined. I think I got pinged by Richa or somebody, and I took your. So what the premise was that you have already scored good in Gate, and you have uh, uh, by the logic of it, you have a good quant skill and everything. So it should be easier cakewalk for you. That was his premise. That
Right.
is why you will be able to qualify it in 3 months and XYZ. And on the first day, Sandeep sir gave us those 8 questions thing with us, right? And it like I think I got 5 of them wrong, and I was stumped. After that, Richa called me up and she said that, how was it? I was like, what is this? Like I have faced competition before, but what the hell happened with me? But then that is when I knew that I need to take this course. I need to improve on my skills. Those questions with DS traps and everything, like they make you feel that these things are doable. It's just that something you're doing wrong, right? That is why I needed to take this course. That this is a doable exam. It's not nothing fancy or nothing like UPSC. I've been preparing for UPSC for a few years now. Right? So that is why my verbal skills show because I've been reading a lot. So that gave me the inspiration to just let's just join Sandeep sir and see what happens. And I joined him. I found my classes excellent. The best part was earlier, whatever preparations I've done, all the scheduling and planning and plotting, everything I had to do on myself. Sandeep sir on day one gives you an Excel sheet. Just follow it religiously. I followed it religiously. So this is the story of how I went for GMAT. Actually, frustration put me through it.
Frustration put you through it. Wow. No, so tell me some of the philosophy that resonated with you because Sandeep sir talks of these terms itself. Like if you are there, exactly because even I remember when I first met Sandeep sir, he had this 7 points which you exactly said if you're
Mm.
frustrated, and it matches. Although you don't know him, you're telling me exactly what I felt
Yeah,
through.
somebody speaking my own story, like he says or something like that. When he
Yeah.
told about his IM stories, his Harvard, the day one because I'm a worship reader, I read his Harvard essay, what he had submitted, and everything, and all of those things, right? It resonated. Like you can keep crying about a situation, or you can do something about it. That was the first thing, and it resonated. Like yes, that is what I'm supposed to do, right?
At least there's
So
somebody who is, voicing and saying yes, you are thinking right. You did.
yes, absolutely. Additionally, I have a lot of government experience and a lot of experience of such exams, right? I have given ES, I went to interview, I was preparing for UPSC, I went till mains. And what he talks about these exams is exactly what I was frustrated with, right? Because I don't know, matlab, they are not looking for the skills which you're going to implement. That is the exact point why. See, I'm a get graduate, right? And if you look at my portfolio, being one of the best technical minds out there, I was put into HR field. I excelled at all those fields just fine. But that must not have been the case with a lot of other candidates who got in through because they were good technical minds. So this disconnect between education and industry, right? So that thing, for even all the entrance exams. So that thing resonated with me with when Sandeep sir speaks about those things and why he left IIM. I will like to tell that currently I've given CAT as well. I just gave it like just to check me that what I'm doing. I was not preparing for anything. I got a 98th percentile there also. I'm awaiting call letters from, I think I'm awaiting interview calls from Bangalore and I think Calcutta.
Right.
So Bangalore people, they have like checked in with me that whether you are going to continue the interview program or not. And Calcutta, I'm awaiting the mail. So, but whenever he talks about these exams and the philosophies they test you on, it resonated with me like exceedingly well. Like I have my colleagues who have gone into engineering services, I have my colleagues who have gone into administrative services, and all of them are frustrated because what you were tested for, what you wanted in the exam, and what you're going to implement in the field is like completely 180 degree. So I wanted to have an exam which was testing on the skills, and I was going to get into those skills, right? So that is why Sandeep sir resonated with me so much.
Two things in the last 5 minutes of our conversation. I am extremely, supremely impressed by how you're voicing out what you felt right and what you don't feel right about whatever
Mhm.
has happened, the sequence of things. And one of the other, the most interesting aspect is I am looking forward to, because then if you really take the right decision from here, I'm really interested to see how your chapter kind of paces because I I think this 5 minutes itself of our conversation, you have such a massive potential to reach. The last time I felt like this about someone was Simrit Pal, but he's from the
Absolutely.
government sector police officer, and now he's doing what extremely well, and I feel the same about it to you, with you. I'm just so excited. But let's now dive deeper into the GMAT preparation. So you said you came because you had an experience preparing for UPSC, so verbal was a little stronger there, and because your gate quant was stronger to start with as topics. But when you actually started seeing GMAT questions and you were stumped, so how did that shift happen? So let's speak a little in all the section quant, verbal, DI. What particular resources and materials and content helped you? Where were you struggling, and how did it help?
So I'll start with verbal because that's the easiest. Verbal usually comes naturally to me. But again, as I said, na, Sandeep says 8 questions transforms your thinking. Like, no, I'm not good at verbal at all. So I was, even when I was solving the first class, the second class, I was trying to see where am I going wrong? Like, why am I thinking it the other way than Sandeep sir is? And I think in the second session or the third session of RC, he introduced it with octave, right? And that transformed, like, okay, so there's a formula to it. And I don't know, that became a second nature, I think. And Sandeep sir insists on it that don't take it as a tool, make it your second nature. Whenever you're reading it, it just should be in your background that this is okay, this is the object of this thing and this is the contrarian words. So that is what I took. And I think I must have done DS traps, that PDF of DS traps, about 3 or 4 times completely. So because I wanted to, that is why I was surprised that I had done a mistake in DS, I think in DI question, DS section. So that was like a very surprising to me that I can falter in multi-source reasoning, I can falter in this, but DS I was well prepared with, but still. Uh, so verbal was this. RC I was mostly versed with, so I'm very used to reading international articles and taking out the logic out of it, because a lot of my previous work, even in the office work, the work I do, I need to extract such logics and theories and conditionalities which RC tests you on. So that was that. But still, I completed all the RC passages from the course material, all the test material. But that prepared me so much. Yeah, full as a full test, whatever verbal came in, I just used to do. For quant, it just explodes, right? The first class itself, there are so many tricks. It changes your thought process altogether. We are engineers, so we always tend to make equations out of things, right? And a lot of times, intentionally, the GMAT people, they make you fall into traps by making you make complex equations with multiple variables, which can be completely avoided if you are just thinking out in a different way of this thing. So that is why Quant, I think the Quant 800, 600 to 800, that booklet, I did it twice just to get grasp. And one important thing which I used to do is whenever I had a lot of tricks because I have given JE, I have given GATE. So I had a lot of tricks up my sleeve already. But whenever I came across a new way of thinking about a problem, I would just mark it up. I had my PDF, I had it in my PDF. I have taken it on my OneNote, and at the later stages I would just go through those questions, like what is different, what is supposed to be done by me, so that this question gets so easy. Like, one of the questions I remember so vividly till date is, there are 5 candies or something which you can be distributed among 2 friends, and there can be 3 friends rather, and there can be 0 candies also, there can be 1 candy in the how many different ways. And Sandeep sir just transforms the way it is solved, right? All the other coachings, I have friends who are taking other courses for GMAT, they try to formulate it n plus 1, n minus 1, and Sandeep sir just transforms the principle. He gives you a principle and sticks with you. You can solve different questions, because as soon as 2 friends become 3 friends, 3 friends become 1.5 friends, the formulas will change because those are based on some assumptions. But Sandeep sir's principle will stay the same. So those things I picked strongly from Sandeep. So I just took it and I just kept it in a separate batch. I just revisit those questions of quant. And BI is just unmanageable. I don't know, man. How do I prepare for it? It's almost like an art thing. You just can do it or you can't do it. I think DS you can master, but all the others, graphs and everything, is just something like an art. You just know it or you don't. I don't know how do you. I just practice what Sandeep just said.
So, my next question to you is, because you did tell me you've been preparing for a lot of exams. And so, this habit, that's this personal habit that you might have, where study time was given to you, of course, how to go about your preparation. But then there are also, your own way. Maybe you've spent these many hours every single day, morning, afternoon, night, whatever the time is, and how long the duration you were preparing. So, can you just highlight on that?
So one thing I like to point out is, whenever you're frustrated like I was, every day was an inspiration, right? That I need to get out of this place. Like every day I'd go to my job and I'd come home frustrated. And the only thing I can do about it is study. So I was a late night studier. I could not wake up at the morning in the mornings. So I would give about 2.5 hours every day. Sometimes that 2.5 hours would end at like 2:30, 3:30 in the night, but that's fine by me. Because I can slump at my job. The thought was, what is the trade-off, right? You would slump at your job. That's the only trade-off. So I thought that it's worth taking the risk, right? Anyways, the job which I'm doing, I'm not liking it, right? So I can get a slack on that, and I'll prop this thing up. Having said that, there was a lot of personal commitments as well, which did take my preparation beyond those 3 months. I never took a break as such, but there were, I think, months where I was like, I could only give like maybe an hour, maybe one test on a day. But that is something which I had heard continuously. Previous candidates, they have been telling us that, okay, you don't have time, maybe give 45 minutes a day, but just don't break that continuity. That is something which I like. I will completely support and put my support behind is that you need to be continuous because this exam is something of a state of a mind, right? It's not about your skills. It's about your skills at some point to some point, but after that it becomes a state of a mind. If a mind is not in that zone, I scored 535 even on mocks. So it needs to be like that. Some days I've given two mocks in a day, like 2.5 hours in the first half and 2.5 hours in the second half and analyzing both of them. So, but it has to be a state of mind. So you need to continuously be in that zone to be able to crack, or maybe I think skills may take you up to 650 maybe. Above that, you have to be in that zone. You have to, when you're facing new questions, you need to think about several approaches at some point of time. In a very short period, you need to take, okay, this approach I can take, this approach I can take, this approach I can take. So to gather such approaches and to be able to check which approach will be the shortest and give me the solution, I think you need to be in that frame of mind. Otherwise, it won't happen. You might have the skills, but it might not.
The more I'm listening to you, the more I'm listening to you, the more I'm so inspired by what you have to say. Your attitude towards the exam, towards life is just worth noting. It's gold. Just don't give up on this fire at all. It's just
I
so.
hope not.
Yeah, I mean, you just because then this fire is going to take you so many places with the kind of score that you have, and the right people that you meet for sure. So a little bit more on the just before the test day, what all happened. So in terms of the mock test, you spoke a lot about the different tests that you've taken throughout. So what really helped you, and when was it the time that you said, "Chalo, now I'm ready. Like I'm now ready to kind of give GMAT." And also speak a little bit in length in terms of what happened on the test day, what was the order of your selection, and why did you choose that order, and what all went through in the exam day.
Okay, so first I'll take what the run-up up to the exam day. Uh, I think I was ready a week before the day I took my exam, because I was consistently getting 675, 695, those scores, right? So I was like, okay, these might be my even my worst day was 655. So I was like, this is fine. This is handleable, manageable. I'm doing a lot of silly mistakes, which I did even on the test day, as you can see. Those two questions of quant should not have been wrong. I never found any difficulty in any of my quant questions, but I did wrong. Anyways, we'll come back to that. So I was like, okay, fine. My preparation is fine. To the run up to the 7 days, all the 7 days I gave one whole test, and analyzed it. And again, I visited that bank of mine which has such questions. Unfortunately, you can't make such a bank for verbal, because verbal is a bit tricky to be kept into a set of questions, because boldface only you have three or four iterations of the same paragraph. So I did try to do it with DI and quant, and that was it. On the day prior to that, just like the professional players do, I did nothing. I slept and slept, and I went. And unfortunately, I got a slot of 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, but I slept. That is why I slept more. And coming to the day of the examination, so in this due course of my preparation, right, I had tried all the possible combinations and combinations of what series I need to give in the sections, right? So what I felt, it worked for me at least, is I wanted to give quant the first, because for quant you need the razor sharp edge you have. And earlier I was trying for quant verbal DI, but then because verbal, I felt like it came easy to me. It used to make me lazy or something. So what I did was I bumped up DI and then verbal, because you're already on that maths zone sort of a thing, and there are a lot of DS questions coming in. So that worked, that clicked for me. And I think in the later stages, all the tests I gave was in this configuration itself. It was quant, DI, and verbal. And on the test day also, and the break. So my planning was I would take a break after DI, because after that you are done. You can relax a little bit. Work becomes easy. You sail to the 45 minutes. On the day of the examination, I gave quant. I was I knew that I had scored good, but I did not know how good it was. DI was, again, you can't predict DI actually. I rarely know that how good my DI was. I just can't. What I can do is I can reduce my silly mistakes. I can revisit the paragraph. You see a lot of DI questions which has taken me 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I'm fine with it. I'll have to just randomly mark some questions, which is I'm fine with, because I'd seen, right, the six wrong answers, seven wrong answers are also getting you like 94, 95%. So I was comfortable with it. So DI did. After that, there was time for this break, right? But the way test centers work is you need to get up and then they will frisk you again and they come on. I thought, who's doing all that? I'm in the zone. Let's not take a break. I did not take a break. Uh, yeah, no breaks in between. I just straight up jumped into verbal and completed verbal 8 minutes early. So my total, that is why you see the verbal averages come down so much, right? Even quant, I was done 8 minutes early, but
Right.
I chose to review those because I tend to do silly mistakes on that. Verbal, I was like fine with it. So I think I completed 6 minutes earlier. Something, so I did not take a break. Please do not follow this advice. Please take a break. I was in the zone, so I felt like, yeah, I should do it. That's all.
I mean, you know, if I think about this, you are like the version with Sandeep sir. If he was to give the test, he would do this. You know, he would be like, "Come on, lega break," and he'll go for
Yes, yes, exactly.
yeah,
That is what I
100%.
feel.
I'm having, you know, like a bit of a uh, uh, it's his story running. Maybe when he was younger, he was like this. But you know, if he sees this, I mean, I hope he gets a chance to see it today itself. You know, he'll be so proud. I'm telling you, you remind me so much of Sir himself. And you, if you have to paint a picture of the ideal candidate, because he tells, look, if you're not someone right for me, if you are not XXXYZ, right?
Yeah.
And you're all that person. So if someone has to paint a picture, that's you. You know, they are, but just amazing, amazing. So next question is, on the exam day, everything is done. You got that score. You were expecting that score, what you saw, because it's for a fleeting moment you see that score, and then the next
Yeah.
thing that you see it,
No,
you
I tried to memorize it, but I couldn't memorize 8 numbers, so I had to wait till the
know.
night. I knew that it was 725, but I did not want to communicate anything without getting the official scores. So I memorized, I tried to memorize what the scores were, what the each individual scores, each individual percentile. Unfortunately, my memory is not that good. So the only thing I came out with was 725.
Only you have to say that, but look, the score says it otherwise. Your memory and everything is supremely good. So, this was the first attempt and you got through. So, in all, with a little bit of not break per se, but you know, the momentum going low, what was the duration that you took end to end?
About 1.5 months approximately. One
End,
and a half to 2 months.
end to
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Wow, you
Yeah.
took a self-paced course, right?
Yes, yes.
And in through this journey, did you find the necessity to interact with maybe the faculty, or did you talk to any of them?
See, because I have been into preparations, right? I come again and again, keep coming back to my prior experiences. I have found myself to be one of those guys who rarely asks doubts. I mean, even if I have a doubt, I'll try and find out the solution by myself. So, and if I had a doubt, I wanted a real time answer, right? If I could not get it because I was giving my tests or exams, I was studying late at night. I was not expecting anybody to be awake at that point of time. So what I would do is I go into a forum or something. I'll look for the answers. There are detailed discussions on that. So I rarely disturb any of our doubt clearance
Pakka Sandeep Sir
personnel.
Junior only. Pakka. There is no doubt about it. But still, we are. I wanted to know if there was any kind of doubt support that you needed. But overall, any message that you have for Sir right now through your preparation or anything, motivation? He's done a lot of these webinar also, you know, to push and you know, be aligned towards your goal. So I don't know if you got a chance to attend any of those. This was exclusively for joint students. But any of those kind of helped you throughout your journey?
Uh, uh, First of all, sir, each of the sentences he speaks, right, he like reflects what I think most of the youth is thinking today. So I would like to thank him for inspiring us, because I myself come from Chhattisgarh. It is like really a backward place even now, and he gives us like the wings to dream. Like, you can do it. The first thing he says is you can do it. The second thing is he asks for some commitments. So anybody who's looking into transforming their career, be it B schools in India or be it B schools worldwide, for both the cases, I would say that this method is the method which I find works, and it makes sense. Like, the method makes sense because you're not rote learning, and we have been taught to rote learn a lot of things. And because these B schools are going to be transformative in the way you're going to be educated. So this is the way Sir tries to teach you. Like that is what I find the most inspirational. And I think that schedule which he gives, the way it is taken care, I think that has to be the blueprint. Like everybody just should copy paste, do everything what Sir is saying. And yeah, I think that's that. I mean, I can't thank enough. I tried to write that in the mail, but I was out of words even yesterday. So I can't thank him enough. Like it's transformational, like the way things are taught. I have been comparing my notes, or not only notes, the way of thinking other people are solving GMAT questions with, right? I've been quite active on GMAT Club, and I can tell you this is the prime of prime way to approach GMAT. And other coaching centers and other test prep institutes, they have like specialists for different fields, right? But he's like a one man army. He will like transform your verbal, he will transform your quant, transform. I mean, unbelievable, unbelievable. I can't thank him enough. Seriously.
But students like you make it even more worth his method, his technique, his strategy, just
Yeah.
exceptional. I mean, at the end of this 30 minutes of conversation, I'm feeling so elated. I feel so good about what you shared. I'm sure Sandeep sir is even more elated to have that score, and really humbled. It validates, like I keep telling a lot of people, it validates whatever he's doing. And thank you so much for trusting Sandeep and trusting Top 1% to the entire process. What's next for you in terms of the entire application point of view? You already said that you because you gave CAT and you're expecting some calls, but through GMAT, where are you considering to apply, and what kind of why are you looking at those schools overall?
The first thing is I'm a little bit confused about should I go for R3 or not, because the scholarship chances are very low. So I'll be discussing it at length with O3. First of all, O3 sir.
Yeah.
And the one prime school with which in mind I started my GMAT journey was Harvard. I know it has come down on ranks and everything, but those are seasonal fluctuations I call. So my prime target would be Harvard, then maybe MIT Sloan, because MIT I wanted to get in through STEM. I could not, because that at that time I was not aware. I was not so much, I don't know, well versed with the education intake process and everything. So MIT Sloan, and then all those ranked universities, right? M7 ranked the way they are ranked, simply
Yes.
Wharton and HEC
Stanford,
Paris.
Kellogg, Chicago. So, again, what I really see this, like I said, don't let this fire go, because like what I see for you is that if you go with the same passion and you learn there, you will not just transform yourself, but you have the ability to transform around you, whatever that is, right? And you have that potential to bring a lot of difference and change, be it here or be it anywhere. The only thing is that you have that power to learn anything that anyone is going to teach. You're going to grasp it and then showcase. So that's your talent, right? And so expose yourself to the best that is there in the world, not just in India. And don't let anything else deflate that that kind of a motto and idea. And I'm going to put this across to even Audrey as well. You really deserve the best of the college, and I really hope to see that journey happen through. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you.
and coming today in such a short span. I can already feel because it's like almost yesterday that you gave your GMAT exam, and today you're speaking
Yes.
to me, right? So
Yes.
and so it stands very, very fresh. Thank you again, and I wish you all the very best, like really from the heart.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Natasha. And please thanks Sandeep sir from my side and the
Yeah,
whole top team. You've been
absolutely.
like an exceptional support in my journey. And always remember, I'll always come back to you guys, in whatever capacity is possible. So thank you so much.
This attitude is killer. Like it will take you such a long way. Very, very nice. Super, super. All right. Okay. Thank you. Have a good
Okay.
evening. Bye bye. Take care.
Yeah. Bye.